What up, everybody? You're now tuned into the true definition of a sports fanatic. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley, back today with another live stream. Got a special episode today. This is the Super Bowl kickoff edition. First time I've ever done anything like this. Actually, my first show was audio, and it was on the Rams-Patriots Super Bowl, and I did a breakdown of it after the game. So that was my first show. So it's coming full circle. Rams back in the Super Bowl. Brandon on the live stream, man. So we here today. What's going on, Mr. Reid? How you feeling?
Man, I'm doing good on this Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Good day to have a podcast, man. Good day.
Oh, for sure. I'm glad you suggested it because I this hadn't even dawned on me to even do it at this time, man. But I'm definitely glad we did get it in this time. Get a little pregame before the Super Bowl. I think kickoff is like 6:30, so we try to do an hour and a half, and get on up out of here so we can enjoy the game, man. But y'all see the topics. Besides the Super Bowl, we're gonna talk about Super Bowl, but we're gonna start talking about the Hall of Fame, 2022 Hall of Fame class, particularly two Jacksonville guys, one from the city, one drafted by the city, Tony Boselli, of course, and Leroy Butler. Two guys that I think is long overdue. It's well deserved, especially Leroy Butler, because he's been waiting even way longer than Tony Boselli has. He should have been in a long time ago as well. I did see Tony Boselli's video of him getting the announcement, and Anthony Munoz went to his house and told him. It was a good moment because I didn't know he looked up and revered Anthony Munoz the way that he did. So that was cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit everything on the head. I mean, you know what? I know Tony Boselli is beloved in Jacksonville, and a guy that's been waiting basically 16 years to get voted in. But the story that really captured me was Leroy Butler. I mean, just a guy. I mean, from a kid, for myself, growing up in the 70s and 80s in Jacksonville, and knowing what the Logic homes was back in that time, in that time area, you're talking about like 600 units and just a whole lot of, a lot of crime and a whole lot of things. And then you look at what he's sharing his story more about, that he was pigeon-toed and he had to get bone broken in his foot and had to have wear braces, and then he was talking about he was bullied and man, I mean, it's just when you hear, I mean, I don't care what anybody say. I think from a guy who comes from being an underdog, I mean, they even got songs out, rags to riches, and when you
started from the bottom.
Yeah, started from the bottom, and now we're here, and it's like when you see things like that, man, when you know that road has been difficult and there's so many things that could have pulled him in different directions, and he fought through it, persevered. I mean, I just love stories like that, man, because life is so hard. I mean, there's a lot of guys, I mean, before my era, time, or whatever you want to call it, before we were around, and then you look at back to some great athletes that really came out of Jacksonville in the 70s, and some of them just, the streets, it wasn't their talent, it was the streets swallowed them up, bad environment, influences, doing things they wasn't supposed to do and get swallowed up that way. But no slight on the talent, just that, pressures from the outside swayed them in the directions that they probably shouldn't have gone, but just didn't have that fortitude. So I enjoy seeing a guy like Leroy and also Tony Boselli. But the biggest thing for me is Leroy. I mean, Leroy Butler could really change the mind of young people, because he lived it, he experienced it. He can share that story with so many people.
Yep.
Because, man, when you come in, I mean, you also with him, you're talking about a single parent. He came from a single parent home, so his mom was his dad. His mom was everything, and she set the ground rules and the rules. So he obviously respects his mom a whole lot, because all that advice, when you nothing and you have nothing as a, like your role model lives in your house, and she was the one who encouraged him that you can do this if you do this and you do that. She like provided him the roadmap, man. So when I see things like that, knowing how hard this world is and knowing all the influences, and particularly in his era, back in his day in those 80s, and just knowing that, man, for a lot of young people, man, it's hard to keep your dream when you being tugged one way and this way, or your mom struggling to try to make ends meet, and you got this dream in your mind, and I'm gonna make it to the NFL, and nobody believes it but you, and then you sometimes you doubt yourself, man. Come on, man. You doubt yourself that you can get there. But just to see somebody who overcome all that, get to the promised land, get to the league, go to Florida State, be successful, get it from Florida State to the NFL, and not just get to the NFL, have a 12-year career, make the all-decade team of the 90s, and then have a 16-year wait like Tony Baselli to get to the Hall, but still believe in himself. I mean, that's almost like a novel that, man, he don't even have to write, but it's just so impactful that it touched me, man, to hear him at this Hall, and when you done went through all this, and then it all comes out at once, and I think I hope he comes back to Jacksonville. I know he's in Milwaukee and doing his thing up there, but I hope he comes back to Jacksonville, and maybe even the Duval County Schools or whoever, put him in front of kids so they can hear his story, so he can inspire, who knows, countless kids, but that can come up and know that, man, it don't matter how you start, it's how you finish,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's see what Ness say congratulations on both those guys. Fred will be next. Hey, Fred and Jimmy should both be next. Say, wow, didn't know all of that about Leroy. Yeah, I seen where one of the conditions he had with his feet is like you say, he had to have bones broken, had to have surgery on his feet. He had to. They say he will go through a couple of pairs of cleats during the game because of the way, I guess, his feet were and how it felt, and him running on them, and how the cleat would bend and break and stuff. So he have to sometimes use multiple pairs of cleats to get through a game. Just that alone right there. I mean, having a pain in your feet and you on them running, just think about stubbing your toe on the side of the bed and how you done for the rest of the week after you stub your toe. I mean, he had to go out and play games with these feet, man.
Yeah.
So when I heard that impressed me even more.
And he was playing with that foot pain probably his whole career,
Whole career.
But the desire over, you got desire that you want to be the best, then you fight through it, man. So I'm really happy. I mean, I feel like he's somebody that, a lot of us in Jacksonville, obviously he's from Jacksonville, that we can relate to, and then, you talk about a guy like Tony Baselli. I mean, what he was, the first guy to be inducted into the Ring of Honor, first player to be drafted in Jaguars history. And it's almost to be like, okay, we expected that he's going to be the first to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. But just a good story for a franchise that's just, I mean, when you really think about the Jaguars franchise that just done had uppercuts, two black eyes. He punched in the gut. just for the fans to have something to be proud of, that, hey, this guy came from this franchise, the first this. And I just think that was so much needed, to have this franchise to have some good positive news for a change. And it was, and let's don't forget, I think it's positive news that Doug Peterson, the way things seems to be going, that, things are moving in a good direction. But, for a guy, I mean, I understand, writing a lot of stories on Tony Baselli and the disappointment. I mean, but 2 years ago, he wanted to kind of change how he, back before they changed it because of the pandemic, though, they would bring the finalists to the site where they would make the announcement, and then the director of the Hall of Fame committee of the Hall of Fame would knock on the door
Yeah.
of the guys who made it, and the guys who didn't would just get a phone call.
Yeah.
So he he done shared this story that he tried like about, he's been a finalist since 2017, so he was just trying to find different approaches. And it was one year, I think in 2018, where everybody was just sitting in the hotel room. His wife was nervous, his sons was nervous. Then all of a sudden the phone rang, and it's just it's the customary. Well, we're sorry you didn't make it. Better hope next year. So he just said in 2019 year, he said, "Hey, we're gonna make this a party. No matter what, it's good to be a finalist.
Yeah.
We're gonna have the music playing. We're gonna dance. We're just gonna have a good family get together." So they tried that approach, and then the phone rung, and he's still, we sorry, So
yeah, I did. See his on. He said he wouldn't change anything. Even the long wait, because he said to have Anthony Munoz presented to him and let him know he's been in the Hall is he said he wouldn't change that for anything. So the only regret he has is that his father passed away a year ago and he was not here for it. He wish he would have been. He said, but other than that, man, he said he wouldn't change a thing. And looking at his face when Anthony Munoz was basically describing what it's like to be in the Hall, what to expect, you're no longer number 71. You're now Tony Baselli, HOF 22. That's what you are now. You're no longer number 71. And just the look on his face, that pure excitement, joy, and that competitive fire, you could just see it in his face. He's like, man, I really, really made it. And so I think that's second to none to be able to achieve the pinnacle of the sport, to be one of 360 something players. Yeah, say Deacon Jones said that this team, you can't get cut, you can't get traded, you can't get waived. You're on this team forever.
Yeah. Then Saturday, he got his jacket. He got measured for the jacket.
Yeah.
His face, bust size, all that to get measured. I mean, I think that's when and I think he even said that the other night that's when the reality will hit. That he's getting measured for a Hall of Fame ring. And I saw his social media, and like he was there with his wife, and he's showing the ring. So it's a good moment. Another thing about Tony Baselli that stands out with me is I like the fact, and I know that his program, because I know that some kids that was in his program, that he gave back to the North Side. To me, for a guy who gives back, I mean, he funded like this after school program. He did some things about some kids who may not never had opportunity to go to Jaguar games, and he funded a program where they can go to see the Jaguars. And I commend a guy who that he's just not in the city, but he's giving back to the city that he's adopted. So bravo to him. And he just really, he loves the Jaguars. Sometimes I think he loves them too much.
Yeah, he does. He's a man. He bleeds teal. Tony Baselli bleeds teal.
Yeah, he's never going. Let's be realistic. He's never going to really criticize. I know he go on the sports channel here, but he's never going to really. If you going to listen to Tony Baselli rip this franchise, well, you better. You might as well just turn the station, because he's not going to do it.
Right. And if he ever does rip the franchise, understand that it's well deserved, because that's not what he does.
Yeah.
See, so I got a few comments here. Let's get some of the comments. See, Scott Mullis. He said, good show, guys. Scott at bigjreport.com. He said, Tony Baselli, probably the best left tackle of all time, with Anthony Munoz years earlier. Fred Taylor and Jimmy Smith next. Anchor.fm. Scott Mullis. Yeah, hey, Scott, you got a podcast. Hey, collaboration, man. Hey, DM me, hit me up. We can collab, man. I just looked at your website and I see you got a podcast. So, man, hit me up. Tony Baselli should have gotten 2 years ago. Why was that announcement at 10:09 p.m. at night? Crazy. He should have gotten in 2 years ago. He said, you guys are doing a good job on the show. I appreciate that. He said the emotion poured out of me too when Tony got elected officially. Oh yeah, for sure. T Smalls, what's going on? He said we made history. Yeah, in the Hall of Fame, dog. Yeah. Straight history. And he said props to Leroy Butler as well. Yeah, we talked about Leroy Butler to start off the show, man. Talked about him. And, Tony Baselli going in is great, but Leroy Butler, I identify with him because I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida. I knew exactly where he came from. I know what Oblige said. It's a different place today than it was back then. But just his perseverance, the other athletes he came out with. So he's up there with the likes of a Brian Dawkins, Harold Carmichael, exactly where he should be.
And the great Bob Hayes.
And Bob Hayes, yes.
Yeah, the original. For sure. Yep. So
I'm
all, I think it's a good day for Jacksonville. It was a good day for Jacksonville to have both those guys get enshrined, and they part of that 222 class. And I'll say this: there's going to be more stories. There's going to be a whole lot of things talked about both those guys between now and when they get enshrined in August. So, that their impact is going to be lifetime. As well as it is for Byron Dawkins and Harold Carmichael and Bob Bullet Hayes. Good for the city. Good for anytime you can get Hall of Famers from your town or played for your franchise. That's nothing but beneficial because they're all just like you said. No more 71, no more 36. They're always going to be that class that they were entered to, and they're always going to be. It's going to be Tony Baselli Hall of Famer, Leroy Butler Hall of Famer, and that you can't for a professional athlete. That's like the Mount Rushmore, man. You can't get a bigger accomplishment than making it to a hall, and it never leaves. They'll be long gone, and there'll still be a Hall of Famer. And you can go to Canton, and that bus will always be there. So, that's a magical moment, man. A good moment for this city.
Yeah. See, T Smalls say now all we have to do is win the Super Bowl. Pump the brakes, T Smalls. Pump the brakes, T Smalls. But I'm with you, T Smalls.
Well, I tell you what, T Smalls. I agree with the new coach they hired. It ain't gonna be an overnight fix, but at least it's gonna be a fix that's with somebody that knows what the heck they're doing, and not like a guy to come in here like a car salesman, Urban Meyer. It looks like they finally, moving in a direction that you got an honest guy telling you the honest truth to the fans that this is not going to be overnight fix, but we're going to do one hell of a job to get us to the point that we need to get to and get this quarterback, get some talent. I just want to make sure between now and free agency that we won't have a general manager still talking about we need value. Instead of talent.
Yes. Matter of fact, before we talk about the Super Bowl, let's get into some of that Jaguar stuff. Let's see. We needed some good press. OMG, we needed something good attached to the Jags. It's been a rough ride lately. It has. Yeah. See, T Small say word, brothers, for sure. He say car salesman. Yeah, that's what he was. Not a car salesman. He was a snake oil salesman. Back in the old westerns, the dude come in, look, buy this snake oil that can clean this, it cures this, and it does this. And that stuff don't do nothing. Yeah.
Well, I walked by a circus at the park the other day. He's like the guy standing in front of the big top. Hey, I got this here. Come see this here. We got this here. Yeah. That's what he was.
Come see the bearded lady.
Yeah. Come see the bearded lady. Come see a champion, a monkey. And that just and then when it's time to deliver, he don't even know the name of his own players, let alone he don't know the players from the other teams.
Somebody said if Doug Peterson can name 3 Jaguar players, he's already ahead of the curve. Oh man, they've been killing it, man. But I will say I'm encouraged. I told my mom, I said I'm not going to get excited about this season coming up. I'm not going to put any expectations on. I'm not going to get excited. But I will say we are headed in a positive direction. after the hires, and even listening to Khan, even though he stumbled his way through the press conference a little bit, and he moonwalked and he ducked and dodged, I did sense a genuine want to get things right. Besides the whole clown stuff and image and perception, at the end of the day, none of that matters if you don't get it right. And it seems like he really wants to get it right.
And I agree with you on that, Brandon. Also, I think that he understands that Trent Baalke is not the person solely to run the front office. If I didn't gather anything out of that press conference, I gathered that, hey, we need to bring more qualified people in here, and we got to change what we're doing because it's part of the problem why we've had 10 losing seasons in 11 years. So we have to bring in more experience. We have to, we just have to have a better way of, of figuring out what we need to do as a franchise. And that was basically my biggest takeaway from that press conference. He's never going to be a guy to admit his mistake. He's never going to be a guy to say that, okay, I should have fired Trent Baalke. But to me, and knowing that, hey, this guy is a poor talent evaluator, knowing that he made mistakes, knowing that he comes, he came in here working for Dave Caldwell, who was a disaster, and knowing that, hey, if we can't, the thing about Shad Khan is he don't want to pay people. I think it's just my opinion. I have no proof of this, but just from the knowledge of the last 4 years covering this team, he do not like paying people that's not working for him. Like if the whole coaching staff or have a 2-year contract and everybody get fired the year before that contract ends, well, I think he's the type of owner going to try to get what he can until that contract is expired. But but the thing I like about him is it's a way you can work around a bad situation, and the way I think they're going about it is, okay, he'll be the GM, but his responsibility will be about that much.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to have final say. It's going to be somebody else. So what could have been this much is now shrunken to about, that it won't even matter that he's in the job until that contract expires. So if he's an owner that realized that, hey, bravo to him. They're moving in the right direction in that point. I say this with conviction. I thought they should have still hired Byron Leftwich. And if the sticking point was Adrian Wilson as the sticking point, then they should have compromised and did it. But I will also say this: you got a guy now that's Doug Peterson. He's done it. He's going to do it his way. He's going to bring in you. I looked at his staff. He's got basically all experienced NFL guys. They're not college coaches out here like the other guy. So I think, for a guy to assimilate his staff within probably like a week after he was hired is a step in the right direction. But, and when you're a quarterback like the moves, you're moving in the right direction. So I say it like that.
Yeah, you can tell that Doug Peterson was thoroughly prepared for this opportunity. He's been waiting and preparing for this day, and it's finally here, and he's shown it. When I seen the reports of the staff, it was like this.
Yeah.
Reports coming out about him hiring people. So I was very encouraged by that. But let's see. Ness say he won't be completely happy with the Jags until Baalke is gone. Well, you go.
I understand on that, though, but I tell you what, his role is going to be like this. And if it ain't, he's going to get a negative press from me because he's a poor evaluator in talent, and he should not be here in Jacksonville based alone on just what he did over the last 2 years. But if he's only going to mean that minuscule amount, then, he's just an afterthought until his contract go out. So he's basically, in my feeling. I think he's just going to be more of a figurehead. You know, he can scout, 2023, but nobody cares about 2023 until they get there. Well, what we don't want him to have his hands on 2022. We don't want him to be drafting a guy coming off an ACL injury and can't give us anything for this upcoming season. So that's his track record. That's his history. If you bring in some EVP and you have Doug Peterson, I don't think you're gonna have some guys like just shake your head like, man, what are the hell? What? Let me excuse me, but I don't want to say a cuss word on Sunday.
Yeah.
But what like, man, I don't think we'll be head scratching like, man, what were they thinking? Man, I never heard of this guy. I don't think they're gonna draft a guy that's, I think I wouldn't be shocked if they drafted a guy like Evan Neal. Or they trade down, but I don't think they'll use the number one pick to go draft the another quarterback.
A receiver. I don't see them taking a receiver with the number one pick. We need tight ends. They won't take a tight end there. Of course, there's no tight ends going number one. Thibodeau or Hutchinson. Maybe I think there's an outside chance. I heard some like Hutchinson, some like Thibodeau. But I say trade down because that's more picks. Because let's be honest, you need more than just a handful of players now. I seen where they had about 12 players who are under 25 that can be a part of the core going forward. But you got to add to it. That's only 12 players. You need more than that.
I'll make this prediction. I'll be shocked if Miles Jack is here by this upcoming season.
Really?
I haven't been told that. I just have a hunch. I don't think he fit moving forward. I don't think he fit where Doug Peterson want to go. And if you can get draft picks or talent, or get a talent that's in other positions outside of linebacker, that's something that you can look at also. To me, I don't know if he fits here. I don't know if that's the guy that you want, that they feel is, and I'm not going to say he's not worth his contract. I'm just saying that I think you can get more talent and get more in assets than what he can provide you at that position. He didn't have a great season this past year. I mean, he had some good games, but he didn't have
good games, but he didn't have a great season.
He didn't have a great overall season from start of the season to the end of the season. And then when you look at a guy, just to be honest, and I don't ragging on, I respect the guy more than the world, to be honest. He's a good guy. But you can't have guys on your team when they're impacted by whether or not they got the green dot. You can't have guys, you can't have veteran players making that kind of money, and you got to base a decision on, because he doesn't play well if he has the green dot, but he's supposed to be the leader. I don't care what you, at this point of if your NFL career, there's no more adjustment. You don't make adjustments coming out of the league if you've been in the league as long as he has, and it's like his performance wands because he has the green dot. I mean, come on, man.
And for my listeners, real quick, I didn't mean to cut you off, but for my listeners who don't know, because I got people watching me who not sports savvy, the green dot on the helmet signifies a helmet where he can hear plays. The coaches can call plays, and he gets the plays. You see him holding their ears like this so they can hear the play. Then they'll get a play to the tip players in the huddle. And so basically he's the captain on defense, basically calling the plays. Like the quarterback on offense has the green dot on his helmet. And so that's the green dot we're talking about. And him not having it and not having to worry about the play. Because after you get the play, you call the play to your teammates, and then you got to make sure everybody else is set up. It slowed down his process, and it made him play slower. And when I saw that happened, I said, that was like, I don't know about that. But I will say too, when it came down to start paying these guys, when they drafted Jalen, they drafted Yannick Ngakoue and Miles and all of them, and we had that defense in 2017, we knew we were gonna have to pay some of those guys. And I said, if you had to, you can't. I knew we weren't gonna be able to pay all of them, but I said that if you're gonna pay some guys, You got to pay Jalen. You got to pay Yannick. If you let anybody walk, you let Miles Jack walk. They paid Miles Jack and they let everybody else walk. Isn't that something?
Well, that's the problem. That was Dave Caldwell with his bag full of mistakes, and this is just a Dave Caldwell immature as a GM to say, "Hey, I show you when you don't go out and you don't promote yourself and you don't like order or demand a contract extension." Then for the Jaguars, we reward you. So Miles Jack didn't go to the press. He didn't publicly put anything. He didn't come to training camp in a money truck. So
right.
But you know what, man? I say this. This is off the script, man. I'm happy for Jalen Ramsey, man. Even though me and him didn't have a great relationship, I'm happy to see that man in the Super Bowl, man.
I am too. Let's see. Josh, he said, any thoughts on Deshae Townsend reported hire? So they supposed to be hiring Deshae Townsend? I haven't heard anything about that.
I gotta check with that. I've been out of pocket I had to take a day off. I went to Tampa, so
okay. Well, yeah. If you see any more information on that, Josh Stewart, pass it along, man. Josh always got the information for me. But yeah, pass that along. Deshae Townsend, former Steeler. I remember him. And if he coming in, he probably gonna be working with the DBs, most likely. Yeah, just like Gerald Alexander, he was the DB coach with the Dolphins, and dude, he coached those DBs up. So when I saw his name pop up, and he played here. So when I saw his name pop up, I said, I think that'll be a good hire. Let's see. The front office is definitely a point of emphasis. Yeah, I like Khan said that he want to bring more people in, especially like former players and more people for the front office, because he wants to get the help. He wants to get NFL guys in because he understood that from top to bottom, it was washed. He had to do something about it, and I don't know. I won't say necessarily manipulation, but I think it's what you said is he don't want to pay Balky to sit at home. So he's like, let me bring some more guys in that know ball, formerly here, been in this city. Maurice Jones-Drew volunteered. He said, hey, I'm available. Hey, bring me in.
But long story short, man, they just need more football savvy, veteran front office types that if they're going to do collaborative, if they're going to make decisions collaboratively, then they need to have experienced guys who've done this instead of, say, Shad Khan talking to Tony Khan and Trent Baalke, and they're making decisions based on football decisions. I mean, football-based decisions where you got to have evaluation. Right now, to be honest, truthfully, they don't have anybody in their organization with experience who can really evaluate whether or not a scout is doing his job. I mean, those are the things you have to you got to strengthen that scouting department, and you got to have guys who've done it, been there, knows what they're looking for, and know what type of scout they're getting to look at them. I mean, it's easy to scout. I mean, let's be honest. It's easy to scout top 3 talent, meaning
blue chip talent. It's easy to scout blue chip.
That. It's not easy to go to the Senior Bowl, pluck away a kid that can be a 4th round pick and turn out to be a starter. That's what I'm talking about. They don't have that type of scouting. They don't have a guy that they can go to the Senior Bowl or even the draft combine where everybody's projecting this guy to be 6th round, 7th round. 7th round talent with a 7th round grade. And not only can he, and you see a guy that can overcome those odds, get on your roster, make the roster, and then make an impact. That's where this team has to get better at. You got to go out and find the blooms, man. And it ain't easy to do, but
I think Doug Caldwell had his time doing that. I think his downfall was his first round. He was awful in the first round. Outside of Jalen Ramsey, awful, absolutely awful.
But you know what, Brandon, me and you, for the guys that he drafted in the first round, me and you, we don't need a whole band of scouts. And we could go and draft the people that he drafted in those first early rounds. Me, you, and some fellas in the neighborhood, and you go pick those players at the slot that they had.
Yep.
What his problem is that you can't go out. I mean, I watched the Fiesta Bowl on television when when Blake Bortles played in that game. I believe against Penn State. Baylor. Okay.
Baylor.
The announcers were saying then that he had a hitch in his technique was bad. That he had a hitch in his throwing motion. You don't take a chance on if you San Francisco or you Dallas, a parental team has been successful and can do those things, or got a quarterback already there, then you take a chance on using a third round pick on a guy like Blake Bortles. But when you a franchise like the Jaguars and you know that he's got a mechanical problem that probably not going to get fixed, you don't take a chance like that. You don't.
Yeah.
You don't take a third overall pick and then try to hope that he could be a franchise quarterback. That was a mistake. I mean, when you look back on it, it was a mistake. And you can't make mistakes like that. A lot of times you make mistakes like that, that's your job. I mean, you can't continue to be a GM if you're gonna miss on a third overall pick.
Yeah.
It don't happen in this league, man.
Yeah. He doesn't get credit for drafting Jalen either, because Jalen was projected to go third to the Chargers, and Bosa went third, and when Zeke went fourth, it was a no-brainer. He fell into your lap, and of course he drafted Josh Allen, but the book's still out on that one right there. But let's get some of these comments. He said how he handled the Chris Carter situation did it for me. Yeah, I mean, we talked about that last week. I think how Balky handled the Chris Carter situation and basically told Chris Carter that he has nothing of value to bring to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You know what that sounds like, Brandon? That sounds like a guy who's not sure about himself, and they got guys like that in the NFL. They got guys like that in my business, your business, or what? He's afraid. He's afraid of having a guy with the stature of a Chris Carter, who's got everybody around the league respects him. Everybody knows what he's done. He got a great NFL career. And this guy don't want to bring somebody else in there to outshine him or whatever the case might be, but he's insecure. That's what that is. You can't. Who in the world could say that a Chris Carter couldn't help your organization? I mean, come on, man. And the guy's basically volunteering his services to you. When you 1-15, how can you say somebody can't help you and you went 1-15? I mean, come on now.
Come on. Yeah, and I'm with you, Ness. That right there, that report right there is, see, Miles Jack isn't a 3-4 inside linebacker. No, he never was. He said he's a will linebacker in the 3-4. Yeah, that's what he is. He's always been that. And it showed. And he can't play. He's not an outside linebacker in the 3-4, and he can't play inside. He can only play in that 4-3 on the outside.
If I was his coach, I have him being like a disguised linebacker, strong safety. I would play him like the Rams play Jalen. You put him in the spot and let him create for himself.
What's his name? I think he could do that, just like what's that, Dayon Buchanan with the Cardinals, the way he does it. I think so too. I think he can play that. Let him move around, because let's not forget, we're talking about Miles Jack, and there's no disrespect on Miles Jack and his talent, because Miles Jack is an immensely talented player.
No,
probably pound for pound one of the most athletic players on the team. If we're being honest, because in college he took snaps at corner, he took snaps at safety, nickel, dime, all linebacker positions, and I think he played some defensive end, wide receiver, and running back. So the guy can play. You just need to figure out exactly where he's going to be able to shine. And I don't know. Say losing Telvin Smith hurt us at linebacker for real. Yeah, it did.
It did. No question. I mean, he was a leader. He was a grind. I call a grindstone guy. The guy, people everybody can talk about what happened with Telvin and all that. But let me tell you something about Telvin. Go back to the Pittsburgh game. Who made he forced turnovers, had interceptions. He shined in the big games. These linebackers that they have right now, They don't force turnovers. They
And
don't
look,
make a moment play.
And they ain't got it right because look, Joe Schobert is about to be out in Pittsburgh. So you swing and a miss on Joe Schobert.
You got guys they play linebacker now can't drop back in the pass. They
Damian Wilson can't cover. He can't cover a receiver with a blanket. Yeah. He can hit. He's a 2-down thumper for sure. Yeah, he can't cover anything.
Yep, you're right. And they scheme him all the time. What the rap say?
Rap sheet said former Bears secondary coach Deshae Thompson, who appeared to set joint Viking staff, is now expected to land with the Jaguars under Doug Peterson. Sources say no deal was signed in Minnesota, and Townsend's had a change of heart. An announcement will come this week. Wow. All right. I'm not mad at it at all.
Well, that's a sign of aggressive coach. That's an aggressive coach who ain't taking no for an answer. He done put his ego aside. It ain't about I know we keep talking about this Urban Meyer thing, but you got to understand what is success and what's not success. This guy is bringing in guys. He ain't talking about he ain't making himself the conversation. He's saying, I want the best staff, the experienced. Let me say this again: experienced staff, not the defensive back coach at Ohio State. I'm talking about a guy who done played the game, coaching the game, and not just coaching the game, being successful coaching the game. Meaning that the first time he stepped in that squad room, he ain't gotta say nothing. They already know it. Those players know, hey, we gonna regard this guy with respect because his resume got it on there. Irvin didn't have guys like that. Like who is this guy? Who?
Right.
Chris Ash? Who? Where did he coach at? Texas. How the hell is a college coach gonna take me to the Pro Bowl? I mean, I'm just saying that was the word that's what the Tweety Bird told me. How is this guy gonna take me to the next level? And Texas can't even beat Oklahoma.
hey, you got how did because one position is quality control coach. So he said, how did quality control coach from Roast Beef Tech gonna tell me how to win in the NFL? How? And I get it. I get it now.
I'm just saying. I mean, that's what the boys in the room say. Like, come on, man. If you watch the game at the Super Bowl, I don't think they got. You look on the Rams coaching staff. They ain't got nobody on there that played that was coaching in the Big East and the Big West or the Sky Blue Conference or coaching somewhere we ain't never heard of. They ain't got that.
Hey, George Webb. Oh, we got the Jaguar hater in the building. George Webb is back. He said that's why the Jags gonna be trash for the next 3 years. Fact. Man, he's a Patriots fan, man. So it is.
Well, what's his address? Where he live at? He must don't live in Duval.
No, he live here. He live here.
He live in Duval and got a line with some other team. Come on, man. You got to root for your home.
He be talking that trash. He be talking that trash.
So I thought he must be in the 618 area code instead of the 904.
That's what I thought. They say, but you got to have a D line to play him like that. We're talking about Miles Jack. Yeah, you do. And you do. You got to have a D line, and I think they're going to fortify the D line either through free agency or the draft because I would definitely want another edge rusher for certain.
But he also got to make tackles. Linebackers do make tackles behind the line of scrimmage. So
you say to my man, I told you, Brandon, that it was a mistake getting my. Oh, come on with the 2020 revisionist crap. Oh man, you predicted it because it was the Jaguars and it was going to fail. It didn't matter who it was, George. It didn't matter who it was. You were always going to say, "Oh, it's not going to work." Just like now, we got Doug Peterson, the Super Bowl winning coach. You said he's going to be trash for the next 3 years. Come on, dog. Come on with that.
Come on, man! It's Super Bowl Sunday, man. Give your Duval a little something, man.
You owe me lunch anyway, man. Get out of it.
What he said?
He said I owe him lunch. He talking about the bet because he said Trevor Lawrence was gonna throw 20 interceptions, and he didn't throw 20. He threw 17. Thank you. And he bet it. We did something else. I forgot what show it was though. He ain't found it yet. He's supposed to go find it and what we betted on. I ain't giving him nothing until I know what I betted on. But anyway, what was next? Anyway,
Man, we got to come up with a nickname for George, man.
He said, He said Doug is trash. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. How is he trash, man? Come on with that.
He better than Urban Meyer.
He better than Urban Meyer. Hey, and George, you better be what y'all gonna do with Mac Jones, man? Yeah, he went to the he was an alternate in the Pro Bowl. Yeah, y'all made the playoffs, but it's already, the rumblings are here already. Mac Jones can't throw the ball downfield for whatever reason right now. So they got to figure that out.
Well, they got to get an offensive coordinator. He ain't decided that yet. I don't believe.
No, they haven't. You see, Pats couldn't even hold Bills to 6 points. Thank you, Josh Stewart. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
And he say, "Oh, here he go. He can only get better. Of course, he can only get better, George.
That's what we all say. That's what everybody
Trevor can
say.
only get better."
Man, we gonna bash George today, man. Look at the Patriots, man. They're the first. I mean, how can you score 50 points against the Jaguars, come back 2 weeks later and get blowed out in the first round of the playoff?
How?
Huh? I would like to know send us something on that.
Yeah. please do.
Put up 50 points against the Jaguars and get beat down by Buffalo. Man, get out of here, man.
Hey, Josh, y'all can't stop Josh Allen. The Patriots are not going to stop Josh Allen for the next 10 years. It ain't happening. He's gonna win majority of those matchups. He's that good.
What was the score of that game? How many points Buffalo put on the Patriots?
They put up 50.
50.
Was it 47? It was close to 50.
Yeah,
it was up there.
Hey, 47,
that's 50.
48, that's 50.
Yeah, it was a cheeseburger away from being a 50 burger.
Man, it's gonna be.
We made the playoffs. Did y'all?
Oh, look at it. Look, your season lasted 1 week longer than the ones who didn't. So what is that?
Hey, you got the losers playoff first round playoff check. It's all good.
They got 7 extra days to play and then got blowed out.
Blowed out.
Man, the Patriots, they better trade up and trade down and get some more pieces in there, man. Because you got to get some more offensive playmakers for the Patriots, man.
Yeah, they do. They got to go more offense.
Yep.
Now, I will say I did like what I've heard so far from Trevor Lawrence in the interviews that he's done. The ones he's talked about Jordan Peterson. I watched one he did with Pete Prisco. Another one I saw, he was at dinner with Joe Montana the other night, and then I saw him at an event with Zach. Zach Wilson and Mac Jones. They were all at some event out in LA because he's out in LA. And but just from the little bit I've heard Trevor talk about his experience, what went on, he understands what he needs to do. And he said his adjustment that he had to make was, he said that I got to play at a high level consistently. He said, and because I didn't play at a high level is why we didn't win many games. He said, but now I know, basically saying that he has to bring it. And situational football is not something that he had to do. Because think about it, he won 2 state titles in Cartersville at Georgia. So I'm pretty sure they blew out majority of the teams they played. He goes to Clemson. They blow out majority of the teams that they played. So he doesn't really have to do situational football. Yeah. So now he's gotten used to it. And, he's getting his mechanics down. He's getting better. And I think he's headed in a positive direction.
And another thing, Brandon, he's going to get better coaching, man. I hear the trash, Darrell Bevel and Schottenheimer and all those, man. But, it's just one thing that the coach quarterbacks, you always going to have he coached Russell Wilson and those kind of things. But, man, every individual is different. Every era is different. Every organization do things differently. And the bottom line is that combination of Bevel and Schottenheimer didn't help him enough with his progression as the season got from start to finish. The early portion of the season, they went from, okay, we're going to design the offense. Well, we just going to design our offense, and he's going to have to adapt to what we do. Till it got to a point we got too many losses. We need to plays in that he's comfortable with, that he was used to at Clemson. You shouldn't make mistakes like that, man. You should have all that in before the season even started. A progression of where we want him to be after the first quarter of the season, where we want him to be at the second quarter of the season, and give him more challenges as each of 4 games go into the season. He should be having a high standard of challenges that he has to meet, and they didn't do that. They did not do that, and I think he's going to get far more better coaching than what he got this past year.
Yeah. Josh Stewart say Pats need to learn how to beat Miami. Jags don't have that problem. Yeah, we don't have that problem. We beat Miami on a consistent basis, so they have an issue with Miami.
Well, word on the street.
George did tell me though why they have an issue with Miami, especially in Miami. Yeah, and it ain't got much to do with football.
Jim Bob Cooter, man, that quarterback.
Yeah,
coach.
Jazz got Jim Bob Cooter. Yeah. I seen that. With Press Taylor, Mike McCoy. I mean, I like the moves. I mean, I don't have issue with any of the moves.
Experienced guys. He's got 3 layers of coaches, and Doug Peterson, who was a former quarterback himself. All those guys, McCoy, all those guys are former quarterbacks. He's got a good sound nucleus around that can get him give him the things that he needs. And you put the years of experience with all basically 4 of those guys, he's going to get a lot better coaching than what he ever seen in the NFL from what he experienced last year, which is a good thing. And another thing I like about Doug Peterson, he understands what the priority is. The priority was he hired those guys first to the main nucleus to help Trevor Lawrence. And I think he's building everything that the first priority is getting Trevor to a point that we need him to be at for us to help us to be a winning franchise. And if and under that last administration, it wasn't about Lawrence. It was about him. It was about how this make him look good. But I think these guys, these are NFL coaches.
Yeah.
And this is not Doug Marrone and these are NFL coaches who's had success, who've seen success. You look at Mike McCoy. I mean, he coached Phillip Rivers, and helped elevate him. You can't take that kind of experience lightly, man. Those guys know what the heck they're going to be doing. We, like I said, is the record is 0-0 right now, but you have guys from their track record who work with young quarterbacks, help them develop into good professional quarterbacks, and I think that's what he's put around Trevor Lawrence to get better in year 2.
Yeah. Chris said we might look like professionals out there. We might actually look like an NFL team this upcoming season. So I am excited about that part. Look like an actual football? Let's hope so. So from that, we will dive into this Super Bowl. Rams versus the Bengals, which I seen somebody, they called out the Cincinnati fans saying that only 9% of the Super Bowl tickets were purchased from the, Ohio area. People, I didn't even know they could track that. But yeah, people out of Ohio only bought 9% of the Super Bowl tickets compared to 31% for the people in LA. I mean, it makes sense to me. I mean, are we not still in the middle of a parallelogram? People still had lost their businesses, right? People still, people losing jobs. People, the great resignation is going on right now. 4.5 million Americans left their jobs in November. No one's trying to get up thousands. You seen the ticket prices for the Super Bowl?
Yeah, exactly. $6,000. You know what, Brandon? We got too much analytics, man. We got to get off this analytics. I'm about to go into analytics. Go put me
the analytics taking over, ain't it?
In the trash can. I'm tired of scrunching numbers and Ohio. Well, hey. Even if, there's some people out there might say, hey, the hell, it's better to watch it on TV than me throwing $6,000 and I got a kid, I got a pay for tuition or put a truck note that I gotta put in the mail, put that check in the mail. I ain't got no $6,000 to prove a point. I mean, come on, man. We can't analytic everything. Everybody's situation is different. It doesn't. It sounds like the analytics means that okay, Ohio don't care much about their team as much as LA. But LA,
that's not it.
You get the same job in Ohio that you get in LA. LA gonna pay 6 times more than they pay the same job in Ohio. I mean, come on,
cost
man.
of living.
Yeah. So I mean, come on, man. Analytics is analytics, but boy, sometimes there's more to the story behind the analytics.
I will say that too. But I have an opinion about the Bengals. I will say throughout this entire playoffs, I have picked against them. Can't lie about that.
Me too.
I picked against them. Now I did pick them. No, I did pick them to beat Tennessee though, because I knew Tannehill was not that guy. So I did pick them to at least win that game. I didn't pick them against the Chiefs or the Raiders. I think I picked the Raiders. But I think Bengals fans, you need to enjoy this now.
Yeah.
Enjoy this right now. Enjoy every moment of it. Soak it in. Never forget it. If you going to the game, take pictures.
Well, go ahead, Brandon.
Go ahead.
You know what you're trying to say, man. Enjoy it. Remember it, because it's never gonna happen again. and then never have another icky moment.
Hey, and the only reason I even feel that way of going down this path is because of the owner.
You feel that way, then? Huh? You do feel this way. You feel that they're not coming.
and you know why? And I'm about to tell you why. The owner, Mike Brown.
Yeah, you're right. You won't get no argument on me on that one.
I mean, I didn't know he was that cheap. I mean, you got so many players calling him out for his cheapness. I seen Dominique Foxworth say, "Congratulations to the Bengals." Even Mike Brown with his cheap ass. That's what he said on Twitter. I said, "Dang, everybody know that this man is cheap." So because he's like that, unless he gonna open up the pocketbook, because to retain these stars that he got, you gonna have to pay Burrow, you gonna have to pay Chase, you gonna have to pay Higgins, pay Boyd, pay Uzama. I mean, you pay those defenders, those young defenders. You got a lot of guys that you're going to have to pay, and he doesn't like to pay people. So this may be it.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I'll say this: I found out that he was cheap when I watched the Bengals on Hard Knocks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's got like every family member working the organization. He don't want to pay people outside the family, so he's got a granddaughter, the daughter. I mean, the whole front office is run by his family. He don't want to pay outside people. But he's cheap, man. He don't. You know, another thing about him, he don't try to hide that he's cheap.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
From what I heard, it goes all the way. It goes even back to Paul. I mean, it goes back to the original Brown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it goes all the way back. And I will say that Joe Burrow, I think, will keep them relevant for a very long time. I think he'll be a godsend. But as long as they keep him, they got to get him healthy, keep him healthy though, and get a better line. And that's another thing they're going to have to invest in. You're going to have to spend money on the line. The Chiefs basically showed you that a bad offensive line can wreck everything for you.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing that happened to the Chiefs last year is going to happen to the Bengals tonight, because that Rams defensive line, Aaron Donald, is going to kill the right side of that line. I mean, he's going to toss him. You know, you go ahead. It's like Shaq. When Shaq say, "If I saw a snake in the paint, I'd average 28 and 10, and the snake would be barbecue chicken." Hey, that's how Aaron Donald looking at those linemen. He's like, those linemen gonna be barbecue chicken, straight like that.
It's gonna get a little ugly on that in them trenches, man. Because I tell you what, the last win of Von Miller, you might see it tonight. He might have a super game tonight, man.
Yeah.
Even though I think he got the tail end of his career, I don't think they got anybody that could. And what is games that their front four, I don't think the Bengals can contend with that, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that
Burrow, he get the ball out fast, but dude.
But it can disrupt everything, especially coming off the edge, and he get inside pressure from Donald. Shit.
Donald. Mm-hmm.
Hey. But you know what? I say this. I'm just glad the Jags. I always like to re-mention the Jags. I'm just glad the Jags they have to worry about George Warhol no more.
Yeah. I did see that. I see somebody else hired him. Yeah,
the Texans. So you expect that from the Texans, but
yeah,
finally we get to see some zone blocking and some things that have been going on for the last 18 years. We'll finally get to see some of those concepts with this offensive line, and I'm so happy that we won't be hearing about continuity this year.
yeah, they're going to take that and throw that out the window because like that's like the Bengals next year. They're going into next season. Let's say the Bengals win tonight, and they're like, we're going to bring back this offensive line because of continuity. They will be crazy to bring back that offensive line.
Yeah, you're right. Especially after they might get this butt whipping in a few more hours from now. I don't see how in any fashion that their offensive line can contend with and that's where I think the game is going to be won and lost with their defensive line against Cincinnati's offensive line. And I know, people saying, they gave up 9 sacks and they still won, but that wasn't the Super Bowl. So
no, it wasn't. And they have a great host of receivers / tight ends. I mean, I think you go like 5 deep with receivers and tight ends. And Jalen Ramsey, I'm pretty certain they're going to move him around. Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if he trails Jamar Chase a little more than he's followed other number ones because he followed number ones from time to time. But they continue to move him around so he could get action. Because if he stays on one side, they just don't throw to that side. Like in the NFC Championship game, Jimmy Garoppolo avoided him. 31 snaps, only 2 targets, 31 coverage snaps, 2 targets, no catches against Jalen Ramsey. So they stayed away from him. But if he covers Jamar Chase, they're going to try him. And you got these people, they're like, oh, he's going to get beat. He's going to be burnt till he's this and he's that. I say it's going to be a back and forth affair. Jamar Chase is going to get some. He's not going to shut the guy out because Jamar Chase he's great.
No,
he's great. They say already he may be he's on his way to being the best receiver in franchise history. On his way. That belongs to that you either whoever you like, whether you older or younger. If you're younger, Chad Ochocinco or Chad Johnson. For the older people, you got I think it was Collinsworth, White Lightning. Yeah. So but other than that, I see that, like you say, winning in the trenches, the game being played in the trenches, and Matthew Stafford not making the mistakes. Because as long as he plays his game and don't make the mistakes, they should win. They should win this game. Yeah, and none of them can cover Cooper Kupp. These DBs have been good for the Bengals this whole playoffs because they've been able to make adjustments and shut down the other quarterbacks. They shut down Derek Carr. You shut down Tannehill. You shut down Patrick Mahomes in the second half and overtime. Can you do it to Matthew Stafford and cover those receivers? Because what they did, they doubled the receivers, whoever the go-to was. You're not going to be able to do that to Cooper Kupp.
No. And don't forget about Odell Beckham. He might have a good game too.
I think he's the sleeper. I think because Cooper Kupp, wherever he goes, he's going to draw a crowd. And if Odell Beckham's get one-on-ones tonight, he could have a big game.
Well, I'm predicting that the Rams going to come out firing. I mean, they're playing at home, basically. I just think the stench from losing a couple years back to the Patriots, I think that they, you might disagree, but I think that the Rams had a tougher road getting here than the Bengals. I mean, most people would say, like, yeah, man, the Bengals, nobody picked them to get to the Super Bowl, but man, the Rams played a hard. I mean,
they played a harder schedule. They did. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tampa Bay. Cardinals, and 49ers.
49ers.
Tough.
That 49ers defensive front, the Bengals don't have a defensive front like the 49ers, man. I mean, they got a good defensive front, but it is not like it's not the physicality of what that 49ers defensive front was. And I like the 49ers secondary too. I mean, but this is all the marbles, man. I think this is I mean, you know, I want to see McVay to call a good game, obviously. You know, I don't want to see a bunch of, you know, the officials calling this and that. I want to see a wide open game. And I just feel, even with a wide open offensive game, I just feel that the edge is going to be to the Rams with their defensive front. I just think they can do so much to disrupt the Bengals than the Bengals can to disrupt the Rams offense. And you know, you look at a guy like what's the receiver from Florida? I mean, he might be. I mean, I like the Rams' weapon.
Oh, Jefferson,
yeah. I like the Rams where he can play chess. He can move them around. I like that even on defense. I like the scheme that they have with Jalen. That the skies that they send blitzes off of Ramsey where he's lining up at and things. And I like that disguisement where you gotta really you can't really figure them out. You know, he's not gonna be stuck on one side of the field, and he's not gonna be stuck. He's not gonna be following their best guy all for the entire game. So I like that kind of football. I like that chess match. I like that hey, it's gonna come down to what chess player is the best chess player, not just well, my matchup on the right side is gonna be your best matchup on the left. You know, it's just I want to see good football. I want to see who can outmaneuver who. You know, who can out chess somebody. With strategy and the strength against strength. You know, because it's obvious the Bengals' weak point is that offensive line, and if they can overcome it, they can win the game. If they can neutralize the Rams' defensive front, they got a much better chance of winning this game. I don't see it happening. I don't think they got anybody on that team, even if they double Aaron Donald, that they can stop him. I don't see it. Not a team that gave up 9 sacks in the playoffs. I don't see it.
No. And if somehow they're able to do so and get Joe Burrow time, if Burrow has a little bit of time, he's going to get the ball out of his hands and get it into the right receiver's hands. So if the Rams have to dominate on the defensive line, you have to. If you don't dominate, you won't win the game. Yeah. So I think the MVP of the Super Bowl, I've seen a lot of people pick Stafford. I'm gonna go out on a limb. It's not really a limb because I've heard other people say his name, but I think he may be the MVP tonight, and that is Aaron Donald, of course. I think Aaron Donald could be the MVP of tonight's game because the right side of that offensive line is horrid. I mean, it's absolutely awful. Hey, they look worse than Josh Wells did with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I said then when Josh got to start or go up play a whole significant amount of snaps, it's not in your best interest that you're gonna win that game, man. So you know, I you know, it's just so hard to pick an MVP. I would love to see Aaron Donald win first of all, win a Super Bowl. Second of all, be the MVP because he just puts so much into what he does, man. I mean, I literally saw this guy look like he had tears coming down his eyes when they lost that game last year. Then they lost to Green Bay in the second round. He was just like, boy, you know, he just couldn't believe the season ended earlier than what it's supposed to be. You know, the passion that he put into his craft. And I said earlier, I like their defensive front. I like what they do. If you like a young guy studying how to use his hands, shooting the gap, spin moves, all you got to do is watch that defensive line, man. I know we don't
Yeah.
see a lot of that in Jacksonville with the Jaguars, but man, that technique sound is just tremendous when you look at what they do, and it ain't just bull rushing and out strengthening the offensive linemen. Man, they got some real nice technique moves, particularly Aaron Donald, to get through that traffic. And then we always talk about instinctiveness and all the stuff that we didn't see with this Jaguar team, and you
Yeah.
see all of that, particularly with Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald can have two guys blocking him, and he still can make the tackle. I mean,
Yes.
they
Yeah.
got
I've
great,
seen triple teams.
yeah, great linebackers, can shoot the gap, read coverage as well. You don't see them getting beat behind it. They don't have the tight ends repeatedly, that linebacker group getting the tight end and they're not covering it where they're getting beat with passes over the middle. You don't see that a lot with the Rams. And then
Yeah.
and then the secondary, hey, you got the best cornerback in the league. Yeah, he done got burnt a few times, but hey, they
Mm-hmm.
don't. You can't trick him.
Yeah.
He's gonna
Now,
be on your best guy. So at some point in the game, there's gonna be that matchup that everybody want to see. Chase
yeah.
versus Jalen. That matchup is gonna happen, and it's gonna happen quite often.
Yeah. I think that X factor, one of the X factors for the Bengals, and
Mhm.
if he has a big game, they win. If he doesn't have a good game, they most likely lose, and that's Joe Mixon.
Yeah,
Them not if they can commit to running the football, which
yeah,
they haven't done this whole postseason. They haven't committed to running the football. I don't think they should come out guns ablaze, tossing the rock up in the air. They need
yeah,
to run the football.
yeah.
You know, yeah, run the football, get those linemen tired, get some misdirection plays going, get Aaron Donald and them running sideline to sideline is what you want. But if they just come out chucking and ducking,
Yeah.
it may be a long night.
And I like Burrow. I mean, just seemed like real poise. He got that poise.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like
cool under
nothing
fire.
cool under fire, nothing rattle him. Get the ball out very quick and can still win a game getting sacked like 9 times. I mean, that's saying a lot. And then you look at what this guy has done. I mean, he led the LSU to a national championship, and then what, second year that he's in the league, and he's already
Mhm.
taken this franchise to a Super Bowl, and we talking about a Bengals franchise that was absolutely horrible like 2 years ago just to get a Burrow, you know.
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then
Yep.
you look at their coaching. I think he's a young guy with a imaginative mind, good offensive play caller. I mean, the things I just hope like like you said, because it can happen. I hope ownership, this guy's counting beans and nickels and quarters, don't destroy this team because this is the opportunity Cincinnati can have. This don't come around often. I mean,
No.
when all the stars of a line, you talking about a small market franchise who don't really invest a lot in a franchise, and he's made some good moves, and they hadn't had some luck to draft a kid like Burrow, and then you
Yep.
you look at Joe Mixon coming in. A lot of people didn't want to draft Joe Mixon, from the stuff that happened at LSU. So
Yeah.
that was a good move. I
Oklahoma.
like their tight ends. I can't that both their tight ends are good. I mean, I like how they get the ball to the tight end. They're not just running intermediate routes. They go long with the tight end. As
Hmm.
you been calling that in that Jaguar game. But
Uzama killed us.
Uzama, that's it.
Yeah.
But one thing it is, and you mentioned this. When you have success and you in a Super Bowl, knocking on the door of the Super Bowl, things change after this. These guys win the Super Bowl, you're gonna have to. Hey, they want value. They've
Yeah.
earned that value.
Hmm.
And you're gonna have to pay to keep talent like that. And and I agree with you on this. Cincinnati is not a drawing. LA is a city where you can pay a guy below what he should make, and the draw of playing in LA lure him to a team like the Rams. You can't do that
Odell
in Cincinnati.
said that. Odell
Yep.
said that he's going to get a Rams a discount in the
Yep.
offseason. He's already said it. He
Yep.
said he wants to come back and he's going to do whatever it takes to get back, and he's going to give him a discount. And
Yep.
it's funny you say that after winning the Super Bowl, like you said, the agents, players' agents see dollar signs on Madden, on the old Maddens, the 2006, 7, 8, 9, up in that before they it went kind of weird and it's not a really good game anymore. But during that time, on the franchise mode, once you win the Super Bowl, you have a board of advisors in your ownership tab. So you got you can set your prices and do logistic stuff for the team. You got a board of advisors, and they have a list of stuff that they advise. And one of the advisors, after you win the Super Bowl, they say winning the Super Bowl has players, agents seeing dollar signs, meaning more guys want more money. And then you got guys guys hold out and want more money. And so, yeah, this is going to happen to the Bengals. And Mike Brown, being a penny pincher, could destroy this for the Bengals because they can do this for the next decade if they build this right.
Yeah. You got a good coach. You got a good, you got all the pieces in. You can add to the young talent. They got young talent,
Yeah.
This Jamar Chase, man, he could be. I mean, he's already a stud. I mean, he could be. You talking about a trendsetter. A Hall of Famer. I know it's too early to talk about that kind of stuff, but
he has that kind of talent.
But he's got that talent. I mean, he's a great route runner. A lot of times a guy with speed is not a great route runner. He's a great route runner. He can adjust his routes. He can come back to the ball. He can make any catch. He can make the leaping catch. He can, the 50-50 ball. He can beat the guy on the 50-50 ball. He can come back. I mean, he can come out of his break. He might one of the youngest guys that I've seen in the league who can adjust his route coming out the break, readjust it again, and still catch it on the sideline. Catch. I mean,
he got all the tools in the tool bag. Run after catch. Don't forget to run after the catch.
The run after
beast.
Yeah, these man. That's even if he did. I mean, sometimes there are guys like him. He don't really need a whole lot of coaching. This is God gift, man. This is I mean, this is.
He got stuff you can't teach.
Yeah, you can't teach some of the things that he does, man. It's just like, people say, oh, yeah, he's a rookie and all that, man. This guy from what you seeing now and what he could be in 5 years, man, the sky's the limit. They got a great guy, man. I ain't talking about, we sometimes we get into hyperbole where we just, like put in, he could be the next Jerry. No, we ain't gonna say all that, but this kid is a special talent, man. And he's gonna be special for a long. If he stays in Cincinnati, he's gonna continue to be special. If he happened to leave Cincinnati and go in another offensive system, he's still gonna shine. He's one of those few guys, like a lot of guys wear that number 1.
Yeah,
I think he's earned that right to wear that number.
Yes, I think so. Yes, I look for him to have a really good game tonight. I don't know if he'll necessarily have a huge game, but I think he's going to get his. He's going to get his. It's going to be a back and forth battle. He's going to win some. He's going to lose some. But I think especially going against Jalen Ramsey, they're going to battle. It's going to be a battle.
What we watch it for, Brandon. We watch this game. We watch this game. A lot of people say things, the Super Bowl and all that. We watch the game to see the best matchup. We want to see the best match. We want to see Uno against Uno. We don't want to see Jalen go up against the 4th-string wide receiver. We want to see him earn that interception against that number 1 guy. We want to see somebody match Jalen's speed with Chase speed and see who's gonna win. And it could be. I think it's gonna be Jalen gonna win some, Chase gonna win some.
Yep.
And that's what we want to see. We want to see great matchup. We don't want to see a 40 to something, which could happen. I mean, the Rams could, to be honest, the Rams could come on and turn this thing up real quickly. But we don't want to see that. We want to see good football played, last game of the season, not regular season. And we want to see a good game. We want to see a good Super Bowl where we can talk about it 10 days from now. Man, you remember that play? You know, that's what we want to see. We want to see something where if it comes down to 27-24 and they need a field goal, I don't want to really see overtime, but I want to see the same type of style of football that we saw in these playoff games. That's what we want to see in the Super Bowl. You know?
Yeah.
And then we want to see halftime. We want to see
oh yeah. Snoop, Mary J, Dr. Dre,
yeah, we want to see
Eminem,
Dre.
Kendrick Lamar. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, at least the NFL got that one right.
At least. Yeah, I expect the Super Bowl to be more of what we've seen this entire postseason. I think this is probably the best postseason I've ever seen as far as matchups, how the games ended in spectacular fashion. You had 4 games that went down to the wire in the divisional round. That was ridiculous. You know, I'd never seen anything like that. So I expect more of the same, but I got the Rams by 3 tonight. I could see it being by 3 tonight. A very close game. Not too high scoring, but not too low scoring. So they're definitely going to both go over 20. I can see both going over 20. So I would say about what you said. Let's say 30-27, 27-24 up in there. Rams going to get it at the buzzer.
I'm picking the Rams 37, Bengals 28.
Oh, man.
It's going to be a little shootout, but I think the Rams going to put some points on the board. And watch out for Beckham. I think he's going to have a good game, man. I know Cooper Kupp going to be Cooper. I mean, he's going to get his. Yeah. But I think Beckham going to have a real good game. And Chase going to have a good game too, man.
Yeah. My other X factor too, Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins. Those other Rams DBs better be ready. Eric Weddle better be ready for Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins and Uzomah because they're coming. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that Uzomah. I don't want to mispronounce his name, but man, he one hell of a talent.
I like him.
He solely beat the Jaguars in that Thursday night game.
Yeah.
He the one that basically trashed Andrew Wingard.
Oh. Hey. Before we move to the next subject, speaking of Andrew Wingard, I saw a graphic of most missed tackles in the AFC. Guess who's number 1 on the most missed tackles list?
Most missed tackles. How
Andrew
many
Wingard,
missed?
22.
22 missed tackles.
7 more than the next person at 15.
Yeah, I knew he was up there. And he probably be top 5 if
it's the NFL, it's definitely going. He's definitely top 5 if you add the NFC in. I'm sure. I'm certain of it.
Yeah, I tell you what, man. For the sake of Jacksonville, please put the best safety in the game.
Please do.
You know, I don't want to hear no politics about he makes the calls better and the checks better. Put the talent on the field, man.
Right. So, all right. So before we gonna end with basketball, see it's 1:23. We've been in hour 23 and it's 5:38. Okay, yeah, we're gonna end with basketball. Before we get into basketball, a few NFL stories. One was that Mr. Alvin Kamara, which that story was just stranger and stranger as time went on. If you haven't heard about it, he was arrested after the Pro Bowl because the night before he was at a club and he was with one of my favorites, Miss Tia Cooper, WNBA player for the Los Angeles Sparks, formerly Mrs. Dwight Howard. I don't know why she married Dwight Howard. It kind of she came down in my eyes. Her value lessened because you thought Dwight Howard was somebody to marry. You should have left him alone. He got 17 kids, and come on now, you should have never married Dwight Howard. But she realized the mistake in a month. They wasn't even married a month, and she annulled the marriage. So she wised up. So at least she did that. But she was partying with Alvin Kamara, him and his group, and some guy who was ragging them. They were going back and forth, talking and whatnot. And he said some stuff, and Alvin Kamara hit him, and the group Alvin Kamara was with stumped him out. And if you haven't seen the picture of dude's face, his face, one side of his face is like out here. And he's all messed up. And he was laughing in the video, talking about he's about to get paid because Alvin Kamara hit him and stuff. And I was like, man, that sounded like this was a setup. It sounded like it was a pure setup to get money out of Alvin Kamara. You got to be smarter than that.
Man, but Brandon, guys, I mean, your last statement is best way to summarize this. If you go back, I mean, I can go back 20 years when Charles Barkley got baited in the bar fights. There are literally people out there that will bait an athlete, a professional athlete, into a fight to draw a lawsuit. And guys got to be smarter. If you're gonna have 15 in your posse, because that's what I call it. If you're gonna go to Vegas and you got 15 members of your posse, and you ain't got one that can get the main person of the posse out of danger, like just drag him away from before it get escalated, then there ain't no use of having a posse. To be honest.
Yeah.
You know, Charles Barkley talk about it all the time. He got baited in the bar fights. Said one of the most stupidest things he did because he know that that's what it was for. It was take him to court.
Yeah.
And guys got to be smarter, man. When you go to Vegas, be smart. I mean, I think, to be honest, I really feel that the NFL really gonna have a problem on their hand. They already have a problem with Vegas right now.
Yeah.
You know, just too many things happen. You know, it ain't no fault of Vegas, but you're gonna have to train your athlete. You're gonna have to have some sit down sessions with your players, and maybe even around the league for anybody that got a road game in Vegas, and prepare them for potential situations, because that's Vegas. I mean, Vegas got people. Everybody in Vegas don't go to church.
That's a good way of putting it. That is a great way of putting
it. They got purpose people out there. They got purpose people. What I call say, man, you know, they look bad. Let me see, can I get a lawsuit?
Wow.
I've seen in Vegas where a guy stopped his car, wouldn't move the car when the car was on green, and wanted to get in a fight with a person. I mean, it just you don't know what you up against in Vegas. No question. So if you guys like Kamara and those, if you got 15, 20 guys in your posse, then designate one that if anything get out of control, take your guy back to the hotel or something. So he, you know, don't don't put yourself in a situation that you can't explain. You know, it's just as simple as that. There are people in Vegas with they ain't got nothing else to do but cause trouble.
Yeah. It's called protect the money. When you got a group of guys and you whoever the money is, you have to protect the money. That's the guy who bankrolls the clan, the crew.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was Chris Carter. It was a former player. He spoke at the rookie symposium, and he basically told him, say, hey, you guys need a fall guy. You need a guy who's going to take the blame, take shit with. Guys start some stat, a guy who's going to step in, take the fall, take the blame for situations, because you being the money guy, you're bringing the money in. You got to stay clean. You got to have somebody, if they're in your corner, you bankrolling their lifestyle, if you paying for them, you got to have a guy that's going to be the fall guy. And he caught criticism for it, and they didn't let him speak again. But did he say anything wrong? No, he did not. He's absolutely right. You got to. I mean, of course, you don't want to put yourself in those positions. But if you do have guys around you and you are the breadwinner, those guys need to serve a purpose.
Yeah, I mean, that's it, man. Be smart. I mean,
it was Chris Carter.
I mean, Vegas has been a problem for a long time. We can go back to Tupac. It's been a problem. You know,
it's been a problem.
You know, you gotta be smart, man. It's not a big. The problem with Vegas is it's too enclosed. It's people on top of people. You got one road you go on. I mean, basically, it's the strip, and it's just too, you know, it's too congested, and it's too easy to get in trouble. You know.
Yeah.
And you gotta think wisely. I mean, the NFL has really done had a black eye. I mean, the franchise only been in Vegas. This the first year, right?
Yeah, first year. Yeah.
I mean, you know, I hate to see stuff like that, but boy, you gotta use judgment. You know, you can argue, but I mean, hey, what's the point of you going tit tat, then start punching, and don't think that's going to be a positive outcome?
Yeah, right.
You gotta have smarter decisions, man.
Smarter decisions. So, and then our next guy, same thing. Need to make smarter decisions. Hopefully, Alvin Kamara get that squared away. Gonna pay that guy his money. You know, you got baited. It is what it is. Take your L because you're gonna have to pay him. But they let him play the Pro Bowl. That Goodell said that the NFL told him, "Hey, we gotta talk to him." They said talk. They won't talk to him, but they were going to arrest him. So they informed him before the Pro Bowl. They let him play. Took the uniform off, arrested him, took him away. But the next guy is Greg Robinson, former NFL offensive tackle, number 2 overall pick from Auburn. And he was stopped by Thibodeau police. This is Louisiana.
Oh, Thibodeau.
And yeah. He got stopped, and he had $120,000 worth of drugs in his possession in the initial traffic stop. That's just in the car. They searched both his residence in the area and found even more paraphernalia, as they say. He had $120,000 worth of drugs in the car with him, 3 pounds of crystal meth, 2.2 pounds of cocaine, 40 pounds of marijuana, 4 grams of crack cocaine, 227 doses of hydrocodone, 40 doses of oxycodone, 18 doses of alprazolam. I guess that's how you say it. Yeah. So this man was trying to be Big Meech, Larry Hoover, whipping work. Hallelujah. Like I'm and I don't know if this was a one-man operation or what, but to have that much stuff. And then they showed the table, they had all the stuff on the table. And I'm like, man, how do you go from being an NFL athlete and as soon as you're done, that's what you go to. You go straight to that. You didn't think about broadcasting, you didn't think about you should have started a podcast. Go into entertainment, go into blue collar work, go into something else, but to go straight into that, I mean, he's just like those guys we just talked about it, how Leroy Butler, it's a coin flip whether he led that type of lifestyle or he went to the NFL because of where he came from, and that's what we know. You know, so many of those, I've seen so many young men who've come up in this city who were great talents. They went off to college, and now they're back here in Jacksonville in the streets. I watched them play football, and I know they can play on the next level, and they're back here in the streets right now getting in trouble.
Yeah, man. That's one of the hardest things that you can see with a guy. I covered Tyreek Evans when he played with the Pelicans, and he's like the first guy to get banned completely. He hadn't been back in the league at all, but he got mixed up in drugs. 3 strikes and he out.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a guy that, you talking about, he made like a $40 million contract or something like that in free agency. And it's just, the thing that troubles me is that there have been so many stories of this. A guy had it all, threw it all away, got in the drug trade, and just, convicted and in jail for 15, 16 years. It's like, come on. And a guy like this, there's so many more things that he could have done with his life. They get caught up in the amount of drugs that you're talking about. If he's convicted, he may not see daylight. It's like he done thrown away his whole life. It's just, this is a tough world, man. It ain't, you don't get special privileges when you commit felonies just because you're a professional athlete.
Yeah.
But it used to be a day where you can break laws if you're a college guy and you were beloved in your college city, and you can get away with some things and still get free meals and free drinks. But man, this world is changing, man. They got kids right now committing crimes that are getting, they getting adult sentences, and they 16 years old. So they're not taking it out on some athlete who passed glory or whatever. That past glory don't mean anything in the courtroom. And it's time for I don't know if it needs more. Maybe the professional leagues need. I think some of the problem is this. A guy that been on top of the world as a professional athlete. It's a lot of problems in the NFL. The concussion and all the impact from that. But we're in this discussion about mental health. But we also need to be in discussion about just when you're an athlete and just think how many years have you, just because you've been on a professional level, doesn't mean that you've been on top since middle school. You've been on top in high school, college. You had privileges that normal Joe didn't have. And when you done spent, there's some, this is not a league where everybody stays in it for 10, 15 years. This is a league where the maximum years is like three. I think it's like 3.5 years is is what you can expect to be in this league. Basically, a lot of guys don't get second contracts. But the story that I'm trying to say is that a lot of guys can't handle when all that glory goes away. When you done live this lavish lifestyle and you got houses with 8 bedrooms and bathrooms and the bill's still coming for a house with 8 bathrooms and eight bedrooms.
Child support.
And your income has stopped and you haven't put any aside. It's a hard thing just to live $1 million lifestyle and then you go back living the Brandon and John lifestyle.
hey, you go from the penthouse on the east side. Hey, to living to move to the north side of Jacksonville. Yeah, you're gonna have an issue. And I'm from the north side. I ain't blaming blacks on the north side. I'm from the north
I was born and raised there, but it's hard, man, when you ain't had to go shop and get your food at Walmart and you 9 of stores at Walmart and you're just like, man, some of these guys like, man, I gotta find a way to keep this money coming. And it's like some of them make the wrong choices, man. I've seen a lot of boxers in my day, believe me, where they had all that glory. And when it come time that all the glory gone and they got about 10 cents to scrub together and they make bad choices, man. Bad choices. And it ain't just boxers. There's a lot of professional athletes, man. And I just
like when they say here, he say, and us black athletes have to be on the scene with our bling sticking out like a sore thumb. And that's the other thing, man. You will never see Brandon walking around in gaudy jewelry. You won't. You will never see it. You won't see it.
I tell you what, I saw an interview today. I believe it was Chase. I think he was talking to Michael Irvin. And man, he had it was literally like a rim, like a tile rim chain. I like, come on, man.
Shoot, Joe Burrow had some bling going into the Chiefs game. Had like with a look like a Nike sign on it and had the diamonds in it. And they asked him were the diamonds real. And he was like, "Yeah, I make too much money for them to be fake." But he's absolutely right. And Chris say Adrian Peterson just got arrested.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, domestic violence. Only he was arguing with his wife on the plane. They had to turn the plane around. I'm reading about it now.
Oh Lord.
Yes, they had to
man. So he was on his way to the Super Bowl?
They were leaving LA, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they were leaving LA. Yeah, he says he's going to be in jail this weekend on his way out of Los Angeles. Yeah, they were leaving LA. He said he was arrested and booked for felony domestic violence Sunday at LAX. He said after airport police got called at 8:30 a.m. He was going to Houston because he's from Texas, so he's probably going to his home. He had to turn the plane around because they had a verbal and physical altercation between the two of them. Wow.
And I
Well,
don't believe that's the first time.
he's had some other stuff. I don't know if it's been domestic violence, but he's had some other issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say, man. I just, that's
I don't know
life
what to
is
say about
hard.
it either.
I say that, but boy, if you can't get along with the woman that you married, it's time to start putting those divorce papers in, man. Because all that spit pad, it ain't gonna change. So if y'all don't get along, it ain't worth being married. Because jail is jail, and married and unhappy.
Yeah.
I'd rather be married unhappy than sitting in somebody's jail.
Oh, definitely. I definitely
I'll
would.
just say it like that. If you can't get along, you can't be married.
Sure. I tell anybody. I say right now, if I could be married, and making really good money, got a great career, got houses, cars, all this stuff, and it go left like this. It go left, and I got to get out of Dodge. Guess what I'm doing? I'm out the door. I'll start over. I'm like, hey, give her whatever. I got to detach myself from this person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, man, it happens. I've been married before.
Yeah.
It don't take rocket science to know when it don't work, it don't work.
No.
You can talk about starting over and you can go talk to Jesus. If it don't work, it ain't gonna get fixed. So believe me.
No. No, it's definitely not gonna get fixed. So, but man, we're gonna put a pin in that football talk. We're gonna finish up. See, we 141. So we're gonna finish up on this these NBA trades, talk a little NBA. We're gonna get out of here and enjoy this game. See, yeah, kickoff at 6:30, it's 5:56. Okay, all right. So I've seen a few of them. I did not know the Mavericks had sent Porzingis to the Wizards.
Yeah,
I just saw that. So the Mavericks got the Lakers were interested in Spencer Dinwiddie, but the Mavericks got Spencer Dinwiddie, and the Wizards get Porzingis. They had to get that horrible contract off the books. That was a horrible contract Kristaps had. And he's not helping them win. Celtics acquire White from the Spurs. The Bucks get Ibaka in the 14 trade. Yeah, so Ibaka, Rodney Hood. Rodney Hood still in the league? I did not know
Ibaka? Milwaukee?
The Bucks got Ibaka. So Serge Ibaka goes to Milwaukee.
That's not good. That might be the missing piece if they needed a missing piece.
Yeah. Let's see. The Clippers got Rodney Hood and Semi Ojeleye, and Vanja Marinkovic. The Kings got Divas Chinko. I remember him. Josh Jackson, Trey Lyles, David Michino. Pistons got Marvin Bagley III. And the Hornets got Montrezl Harrell. I think that's a good pickup for the Hornets. Now, I think that that piece for the Hornets, Montrezl, a defender, he can score, he can rebound, he can do a lot for the Hornets.
Yeah, I watched him. He played last night, grabbing physical, man. He was grabbing rebounds and pushing guys out the lane. So yeah, they needed that physical presence.
Yeah, he said that's the most fun he's had playing basketball. Being a part of the Hornets. He loves it there already. So
man, they beat something. I can't remember who they played, but boy, they was up by 30 quick.
Oh yeah, I forgot who they were playing. Dragic going to the Spurs. So the Raptors got Thaddeus Young and Drew Eubanks, and Goran Dragic goes to the Spurs. Okay, I like that for the Spurs.
The Spurs.
Let's see who else. Kings. They got Sabonis. Yeah, Sabonis. That's why they say the Julius Randle deal fell through, and why he's not didn't get out of New York is because of he was supposed to be headed to the Kings, but the Kings got Sabonis for Tyrese. Pacers got Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson are all going to the Pacers. The Kings got Sabonis, Holiday, and Jeremy Lamb.
Well, good for them.
Yeah.
And you said Randall. Randall, I believe he just done got burned out by Thibodeau.
Thibodeau, yeah. That's the report I keep hearing. CJ McCollum got moved. I was surprised by that. I didn't think they would blow it up just yet, but the Pelicans get McCollum, Larry Nance Jr., and Tony Snell. Josh Hart goes to the Blazers. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Didi Louzada, and Tomas Satoransky. I guess that's how you say his name.
Mhm.
So the Pelicans made some moves. The Cavs got acquired LeVert from the Pacers. They got Karis LeVert. Karis LeVert should still be in Brooklyn, man. And I blame James Harden because I think he's a really good player. But the Pacers got Ricky Rubio out of the deal for Karis LeVert.
Boy, the Pacers, they just basically tore up their whole team, huh?
They did. The Blazers trade Powell and Covington go into the Clippers. Robert Covington and Norman Powell. The Blazers got Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, and Keon Johnson.
Who got Eric?
Blazers. The Blazers got Eric Bledsoe.
Man, Bledsoe is over, man.
It's over for Bledsoe. Yeah, he might be done.
He don't play
he might be
defense. He done lost a little bit of that shot, and this is third team since last year. So,
yeah.
And when the Clippers trade you, it's over.
Yeah, it is.
You can't make it with the Clippers. It's over.
Yeah. So I brought up all those trades. Let's talk about trades. But the trade we're going to talk about is the Ben Simmons, James Harden trade. It's a long time coming. I talked about this last week because we talked about the report of him not liking being in Brooklyn. And I said, as soon as that report came out, I said, you got to move him now. You can't wait until to this all season. You have to move him now because if you don't move him now, you're not going to get compensation for him or good compensation for him. So they move him now. And I said I would take Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris for a Harden. Now they got Ben Simmons and they got Seth Curry and Andre Drummond. I'll take that. James Harden goes to Philly and they get like 2 first-round picks. 2023 and 2027 Brooklyn got. But I think Brooklyn got better. I'm not gonna lie. I think they got better.
Well, Brandon, James Harden.
Here we go.
Hey man, it ain't the franchise. It's James, man. I done reached that conclusion. He can't play with anybody. I also heard that not only during like the 2 weeks before this trade, but there were Nets players was going to management, telling management, you guys got to get rid of this. I mean, we got to, man, you guys got to do something. We can't play with this guy.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he can't play with this guy, man. He picking arguments. He's just a bad dude. He when he fall out of favor, he quit on everything, man. And it's like, we done seen this chapter before. It happened in Houston. He didn't want to be in Houston. What did he do? He shut down. You know, I think we done seen this chapter before. You know, and as you said when you opened up the show, when Durant and LeBron, who's the last guy they picked?
They picked the last pick was Harden in the NBA All-Star draft,
and there's a reason. I mean, the guy, don't kid me wrong. He's got all the talent in the world. He's a facilitator. He can create. He can dish. He can shoot the jump shot. It is nothing wrong with his game, but man, you got to be. You can't put yourself above. You can't demean teammates. First of all, you can't just because somebody said something, or you might be part of a trade talk where you just shut it down. Don't want to talk to nobody. You know the Houston situation should have never happened. He shouldn't have never had enough power in Houston where he could pick what time they practice, when they fly out. I mean, what do you think that gonna cause? Everywhere he goes, he feels he's gonna have to have those privileges, and he's not the man in Brooklyn. You know, it's not his team. You know, he's like the third guy. You know, which is why he had the issue with Irvin. You know, it's like, you know, you're not the guy. This guy could not get along with Chris Paul, and they both wanted to win. How can you not get along with the guy you recruited them to come to your team? I mean, come on, how does that make any sense?
Yeah.
You can't say, okay, we're gonna compromise and we're gonna, I'm gonna change my game to fit his style, and he's gonna change his game to fit his style, and then they come to reach an agreement, and then once the game start, it's like, hey, he got mad at Chris Paul because he was being Chris Paul. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
man. He's a point guard. What you brought him
Mm-hmm.
there for if he can't be a facilitator and bring the ball up the court?
Chris Paul held him accountable, and he didn't
Yeah.
like that.
Well,
Chris Paul.
everybody held him accountable. You got to play
Mm-hmm.
defense. You got
Yes.
to get in shape.
Yes.
You got to win as a team. You got to pass. You don't have to dribble drives with all five guys in the lane when you got an open Irvin on the outside on the 3-point begging to get the ball. You got Kevin Durant. Pass him the ball. He can score.
Yeah. When I heard when the report came out that he supposedly didn't like the fact that Chris Paul said that he had man boobs and it hurt his feelings, I was like, oh, he's the problem. He's the problem.
Well, can we say this on the show? Because the problem is this: he's got to stay out the strip clubs. I mean, that's been the problem in
Yes.
Houston, and it's been a problem in Brooklyn. People have literally seen this guy 5 days a week
in the strip club.
In the strip club. Yep. You can't circumvent the rules so he can go out of practice early so he can hit the town. I mean, come on, man. You can't got no privileges like that. This is a team. He cannot play. He's like the White House. He don't get along with anyone. You got to get along. If you're going to be an NBA team with only 15 guys, it's not like football where you got like 53. You got to get along in the locker room. You can't you can't be in the locker room. Don't talk to anybody. And then expect for the fellas to say, okay, that's okay. That's James Harden.
Mm-hmm.
But those guys was crying to the front office, and I don't know what the whole story, but it was a bunch of Nets players. Everything just fell out of favor. As he was hearing his name being part of trade talk, it got worse.
Yes, it got worse. And then when he said, well, I just hate the fact that these reports and these stories come out. If you didn't hear from me, then it's not true. It's not this, I want to win and I'm frustrated. Right then and there, I said every report that came out is true.
But they all frustrated. The whole team frustrated. It's like they don't want to lose. I mean, come on, he's putting himself everywhere he's been, even in Oklahoma City. It was always his needs, always his desires, always this is here. They're circulating this it. It's always about him. You can't be solo. You're not a quarterback in the NBA. It doesn't work that way. You got to learn how to be cohesive. And Houston, beg you not, Houston had no business giving this guy all those privileges that he got in Houston. I mean, he's a great player. But if you recruited him to Houston and you told him beyond that guaranteed contract, you're gonna get this privilege, that privilege, this privilege, and then you think you're gonna bring in stars that's almost at his level, and they're gonna accept that, and they're not gonna be problem in the locker room. Not gonna happen.
No, it's not.
And now, no, LeBron James don't pick practice times for the Lakers. He could. He earned that right, but he don't do that. So why does James Harden do it?
Right,
come on, man.
Hey, and let's not get it twisted. We got to give some of this smoke as well to Ben Simmons because his situation isn't much better. He's not much better than James Harden. He's not as big as a problem as James has been because he's been a problem in 3 different cities now. 4 different cities. He's been a problem. He's going to be a problem in Philly too. But Ben Simmons, he got his feelings hurt, so he wanted out. My only issue with Ben is not necessarily this situation and whatnot and how he handled it a little bit. I think him not saying much helped him. He didn't really go a war of words with them. He just continuously say, hey, I want out. Now, he did give him the runaround by acting like he had some mental health issues, and they called him on it and tried to get him help, and he said, nah, I'm good. I just want to play. So that right there, he shouldn't have done that. Just be straight up and just tell him you don't want to play. But as far as Ben on the court, he's at a place now where he doesn't have to. He's not going to be relied on to score now. He's not. They're going to have plenty of offense, plenty of ways to score. You got Steph Curry, a sharpshooter you can throw to. Kevin Durant, you can throw to. Kyrie Irving, when he plays, you can throw it to him. So he doesn't have that burden to score on him. He could be one of the best wing defenders in the league, like he is. He's one of the best, and clean the glass and be a facilitator. That's what he can do. But I will say he got to work on that jump shot, because it's going to be times while he's there that KD and Kyrie, you're going to be wide open. And he at least needs to be able to hit wide open shots. And I still don't know if he can do that.
Well, Brandon, I'm going to say this. If he had not worked on his game, he's been out when the season started, October.
Mm-hmm.
If Ben Simmons has not been in the gym to improve his shooting after having since October, I'm just saying that because of the start of the season. He should have did it at the end of last season for the whole summer. Yeah. If he hadn't dedicated himself to not work on his shooting for all these months of the soul searching that he could have done, then he's not going to be that player. He's not going to be that player in Brooklyn. And when he's done with Brooklyn, he ain't going to be that player anywhere. Because if the one thing that you can't do in this league, the problem I have with Ben is this, man. You can't be like mild-tempered and get mad because the coach criticized you and take immature action, which I felt that's what it was.
Yeah.
Because a man, if you manned up and you didn't like what Doc said, then you should have scheduled a meeting and talked to him directly and shared your feelings, what you didn't like about what he said. And if that didn't smooth over, then the man to trade. From my recollection, none of that happened. He just said, I'm not playing here anymore.
Yeah.
If you're not going to play there anymore, that means that you got to make yourself attractive for the other teams. And what was the big thing? He passed up a shot. He didn't want to take the shot. He didn't.
He passed up layups.
He didn't want to take the shot. He's been criticized for months and months that his offensive game, he has not worked on his game as an offensively. Great defensive player, great ball handler, does all the things that could be a superstar, and he chose not to work on the part of the game that he needs. You can't play this game the way they score, where you don't really have to have a defender on them. You don't have to worry about them. You can double team another scorer and don't even have to concentrate on Ben. And in this league, you can't be a team offensively when you're going up against five guys and you only got four scores. It's not gonna work like that. I know Kevin Durant is a great scorer, but it ain't gonna work in Brooklyn either. So it's got to be maturity, and it's got to be how bad he want to be an NBA star. I mean, you can be an NBA player. He's gonna be an NBA player, but to be star level, where he's gonna earn a contract that he wants, then he's gonna have to. He's got to score.
He's got to put in the work.
In this league, and can do all the things that he does, and don't want to attempt shots because he don't have the confidence. It's not mental. It's not a mental problem. It's whatever he's doing in the off season. He's not devoting the amount of time that it takes to be what he needs to be in this league. It happened at LSU. I mean, here's a guy that had all the claim. You got all the attraction of a Ben Simmons being this All-American and all this. And then when it come crunch time, where that was the question. Well, where's Ben? I mean, why Ben don't take the final shot? Why Ben don't lead this team offensively? You know, why the heck is Ben a projected first round pick that's not even averaging over 15 points a game on a LSU team? They don't have scores.
Yeah.
You know, if you ain't motivated by hearing that talk since the day that you went to LSU from college, and I don't know what it was before that. I mean, he was in Australia somewhere.
Yeah.
But if you ain't motivated by that negative talk that everybody chastising your game and you don't have motivation to change it, he's not gonna make it in this league. I don't care who his agent is.
Yeah.
You
No,
gotta
you're right.
gotta toughen up and get in the gym and be the scorer that people say he can't be. I mean, that's how you get motivated in this league. You get motivated by criticism. You don't get motivated when you hear criticism and you shut down. You know,
Yeah.
it's like that's what he did. I don't like what Doc said. I can't play for them no more. I mean, come
Yep.
on, man. That's junior high. Even
Yep.
in high school, you get criticized from the coach and you say, "I'll show you." You know, in
Yep.
junior high, you say, "Oh yeah, man, he talked about me like a dog. I ain't playing." But in high school, I mean,
Right.
long story
Taking it
short,
stride.
man, this guy gotta be a dog. Man, a dog don't care what somebody say. A dog say, "I'm gonna show you wrong," and that's what
Yeah.
he got. He got to get that mentality, man. He got
Yeah.
to be like a New York street player who don't care what people say. They just go knock that jump shot down, and then they say, "I'll see you later." That's
Yeah.
it. No need talking.
It's that simple.
That's all the
And
previous stars in the NBA. They don't give a. I mean, you think Michael Jordan cared about what Isaiah said about him? I mean, who cares? You
who
can't
cares?
defend me, can't check me. So what that mean?
Right.
That mean he
Right.
got him.
Yeah. Right. And this criticism of Ben Simmons is warranted, people. I mean, you got to understand him not being able to shoot and not being a scorer is solely on him because we've seen guys who have improved their shot. Just off the top of my head, off the top of my head, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. None of those guys were shooters coming into the league. All dunkers. That's what they did. Dunks, layups, maybe a little bit of a mid-range game, but they didn't have a consistent shot. All had consistent shots when they retired, or LeBron, who currently playing, has a consistent shot now. Mm-hmm. Okay, you say, well, Brandon, those are superstars. They were always going to be that. Okay, cool. What about Rondo? Rondo had one of the worst shots I've ever seen in my life. And look at what Rondo is now. His shot is great, and it goes up when he goes to the playoffs. Lonzo Ball, dude, he was shooting like this. I've never seen that. And he's a better shooter now. So Ben is not putting the work in, like you said. And if he doesn't put the work in, Brooklyn isn't going anywhere.
And you know what, Brandon? I say this, man. That's the one thing I miss about NBA ball in the 90s and the late 80s. Right now, everybody is playing you can't criticize people anymore. If Ben Simmons played for the Knicks in the 80s, and the 90s, not the 80s, the 90s, it would have got out. There were players for the Knicks would say, "No one, he's soft. He's scared to shoot," and they wouldn't have. It wouldn't have stayed in the locker room. It would have went out, and you would have had players say publicly, "He got to get his." I mean, in order for him to help us win, he's basically got to. I mean, he's got to man up and take more responsibility in his game. Yeah, that's what would have been said. It been said. Patrick Ewing would have said it. I mean, you can go down the list. Oakley. Yeah,
Oakley would have said it,
and Oakley would have personally made sure that he'd been working on his game in practice and after practice. He would have made it. He would have made certain of that. But now everybody's friendly. It's not the same league anymore. Everything is done how the optics of it, how it look, and you don't chastise anybody when it comes to that. But some of that stuff in the old 90s and 80s need to come back because that's what he needs somebody on the team that can set him straight. And it ain't a coach, it's a player. That's what he needs. Yeah. Because that might be the only way it can happen. Yep. He got to get a vet, a real vet with sides who don't care. You know, like, man, if you gonna play on this team, you gonna shoot, or we gonna make sure you shoot. That's what it was back then.
Yeah. Hey, guys, if you haven't seen the NBA All-Star draft with Kevin Durant and LeBron James and them taking James Harden last, just go see that 2-minute clip of Charles Barkley clowning with LeBron James and Kevin Durant about James Harden. You got to see that. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm sure they were talking about that after the cameras went off.
Oh man, I would love to fly on the wall in that studio to hear the conversation after the cameras turned off, because I know it was epic, man.
Well, you know, everybody know it, man. It's like the secret in the room, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. We will be back next week. Well, the news cycle always goes, so we'll always have something to talk about. You know, we'll the Super Bowl, so we'll break down the Super Bowl next week.
And I think Doug Peterson probably going to introduce his defensive coordinators at some point this week, probably like Wednesday.
Okay. So we'll have some Jags talk. We'll have Super Bowl breakdown and some more stories next week. But I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on all my social media. Follow Mr. Reid on Twitter, Jacksonville.com, Florida Times-Union. I appreciate y'all. Man, go check out this game. Jalen Ramsey is going to bring one, not home because he's from Tennessee, but Jalen Ramsey is going to get his ring, and the people in the city are going to be salty. You know, some going to congratulate, but they'll be salty. You know, it's going to be.
I'm going to say, man, they still remember the back injury. My back.
I need a backiotomy.
But he's gonna have that ring. You know, you might have that ring today.
He's gonna have that ring, man. So, man, I appreciate y'all, man. But we are out of here, man. Peace out, y'all.
Super Bowl.